Hi, my name is Jesper and welcome to my art channel. There was a bit of delay since last my video, but I think rough times are behind and I will be able to upload with somewhat more regular schedule. So what I have today, this is the art book of Jesper Ejsing, one of my favorite fantasy artists. And I came to know about his art through Art of Magic the Gathering, the trading card game, and I love that game a lot just for the sake of its art, because I don't have a lot of time to enjoy and play it, but I like to collect the cards because of the art. And among different cards there are some different styles of artists, and one of the few who I adore is the art of this guy. So I bought his art book from French press house, and I'm going to tell you about this book, its contents, and how I think it would be valuable to you now. I'm still away from home, the war still rages on in Ukraine, and this art book was like a small treat for me, because all of my art books are left there in Kiev and I obviously have no access to them. But it is interesting educational experience to extract as much value from one book, because you have only one. Before I will delve into the specifics of this art book, I want to give some words about the printing, because usually I buy art books from Amazon or from our local bookshops, but they are all of the same type of printing quality. They are printed on this glossy paper, and this is another story. And usually books bought from the USA, they are printed in China, but it's not a big secret. This book is printed in France by the French printing house. It is named Correct. As I understood, this is a very small, like boutique type printing house which specializes on the heavily illustrated books like art books, comics, novels, etc. And they have a separate website where you can purchase those books directly from them. When I purchased, they sent me a thank you mail, obviously, and they described how much they give away of the profit for the artists and for themselves if purchase is made through Amazon, because if I remember correctly, Amazon takes like 55% cut from the retail price you see there. So buying directly from the printing house, obviously you support this small business, and you support the specific type of business which allows for the artists to print their art books, because this is not mass consumption product. I don't think like big publishing houses will be interested in printing something like this, but they can do this because they are small. It is good to support them. So as I said, the biggest surprise for me was the quality of the paper. I will open some random page. I'm not sure that it would be possible to see it on the video, but the paper is not glossy as in typical art books, in which it resembles more of paper used in the magazines but thicker. This paper is not glossy, it's matte, and it reflects far less light. I don't have something to put into the comparison because this is my only art book, but even now, as you can see, with having direct overcast light from the window above, it is not very visible reflections, and when you're holding it in the hand, it is very comfortable to enjoy the pictures without reflective lights. And it gives some merit to this artist's style, because most of his works are completed in traditional media in acrylics. This matte paper is better representation of the finished artwork than the glossy one. So that's about the printing house. Next, about the book contents. So the book has several sections. Everything in the book is translated both into English and French. So this is a good approach to have a limited volume of printing and benefiting both French speaking population, because obviously this is a French printing house, and international population and people who know English and can read English. This is a very small foreword about Jesper and his career. Then small section about his steps in creating art. a big spread with his photo, so you know how the artist looks, because everything in this book is his art. And the book is then divided into several sections. They are named for the type of the creatures they contain, and each section starts with this interesting type of approach, because it's not a finished art, it is obviously a sketch, and it is easy to distinguish each section using this approach, because it is white. So we have dragons, we have section of random stuff called adventure. There are battles, like more dynamic scenes. There should be monsters somewhere here. Heroes and villains, like more about people and humanoid type. I think. No, still not. Nope. There should be next section, yes, inhuman, and I think the last one is goblins, if I'm not mistaken. Here. By the way, this spread, this is like the only artwork, very dark on the black background, because usually monsters, usually his artwork is more colorful and joyful. Yes, and goblins, he has such a interesting vision of how he depicts these goblin creatures. Look at this one. This is fabulous. I just have no words for how much I like how he approaches this. But as you see, this is a very thick tome. Most of it are full art without being divided as the spread, and most of these 2-page wide spreads are good to okay, but still few of them, not many, are suffering from the fact that the main subject is in the center. I will not be looking up for the specific example, just wanting to show that the main subject is in the center and it is hidden by this crease. It complicates the enjoyment from the art. In the most of his pictures used for this 2-page spreads, the main subject is somehow offset from the center. But this type of pictures are, I don't know, like less than 20% of pages, I think, are dedicated to the spreads. So I don't know, like 10% of artwork is presented through this way. So this is about the artwork. Spreads or horizontal and vertical images are different pages. What else is peculiar? Most of artworks have the name, the company or the type of IP which use it. It could be like Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, World of Warcraft, TCG, others. And you would know for which type of game he was making art. But there is still more value than the art itself. There are short snippets, text about specific artwork and his story behind this artwork, or about his career. And it was very interesting for me to learn that big influence for him and for his style was the work of Paul Bonner. Paul Bonner is also one of my favorite artists, but he's not well known. I think because he is more... Okay, my assumption is he is more mature and he was more prominent in the 90s and the beginning of 2000. I came to know Paul Bonner's art through the tabletop war game called Confrontation, and his works were used to illustrate a lot of the rule books, and his style is similar to this, and I liked it a lot, and I have in Kyiv at home his art book. It is called Out of the Woods, and it has iconic illustration of a Minotaur on the cover of the book. So it was a great surprise for me to learn that Jesper was aspiring to this artist, and they have a lot of similar in style and the style of fantasy art, which I like a lot. And other stories, I will not tell you everything. But another big surprise and shocker was for me to learn that he was rejected by Wizards of the Coast for illustrating MTG cards for several years in a row. Although you can see from the dates on his signatures on the artwork. From most artworks, you can learn from the signature the year it was produced. You can see by the years about which he is talking that he was rejected, that it was of quality well above the level was used in some of the cards of MTG. So I think he was suited, and it was like a shocker that they declined him, because he produced a lot of iconic cards. And for MTG then, I don't know if I can find, it's for the Hearthstone, like most of his goblins. Homunculus, yes, this is an important card and famous. I don't want to show you goblins because I love goblins. There was the goblin, Charbelcher, here it is. This is a very iconic MTG card, and his art is super great. And he finds a way to depict those goblins in funny and sinister way simultaneously. And here is some more text and story about how he approached creating this card. So you see in the camera there is little glare, but it's very specific angle. It reflects a lot of light, but generally going away from the specific angle, it is not glaring a lot. And nice to enjoy the artwork. So, what is the second biggest value of this art book besides the enjoyment of the art you can see here? And this book is super thick. It has twice the pages of the usual art book, because usual art book runs like 190 to 200 pages, something like that. And this has slightly more than 400 pages, and they are densely packed with the high quality art of the single artist. Having all the art of the single artist from the last 10, 15 years, 20 years of his career, to this ability to see how his style progressed and developed, and to learn from him also. Because when you see a lot of pieces and analyze them made by one hand, you can start to derive his approaches to creating art, how he uses light and shade, his style of backlighting, and his approach to color schemes. And if you're not doing it deliberately, like analyzing and trying to deconstruct them, just by the amount of sheer volume of art from the one artist looking for it from day to day, you will have something in the back of your mind. Some of it will rub off and on you, how to speak, and will be in your unconsciousness. Maybe you will be able to use it, his techniques, without even thinking about it. Summary take 2, because first take had my head cut like here. I will be more concise this time because I already know what to speak. So, the summary. This is expensive book, definitely. It has twice the page count and art count of your typical art book, but its price is like 3 times of average art book on Amazon, because this one cost me around 80 euros. But it is a very high quality printing done in France, which is a responsible way, ethical way, and it suits a lot this type of art more than your typical glossy paper like magazines, but thicker in typical art books. And my conclusion is, if you would only have one art book, it better be the art book of the author, of the painter, artist, whatever you enjoy and want to create your art in similar fashion, so that you can learn. And comparing it to my experience with different art books dedicated to video games, this is another style, another approach, and you can learn a lot from book dedicated to one author. And I wanted to thank you for watching this video. I hope you are safe in the safe place, and if you have any ability to support Ukraine in its effort to stop the Russian invasion, please, I would be very thankful from all Ukrainian people for your support. And I hope I will be able to upload more videos regularly and have somewhat a strict schedule. Thank you very much, and bye bye.